Billboard Philippines volumes.
On this episode, we go behind the music and turn up the volume on Ben&Ben.
Billboard Philippines volumes.
Welcome to Billboard Philippines Volumes, where we turn up the volume on your favorite artists. Of course, we are here today with 2023's most streamed artist, Ben&Ben. Yeah,
Hello.
welcome to the show. Make some noise. Yeah,
Hello guys.
yeah.
Hello
We love
Liwanag.
that. Let's
Hello
go.
Billboard.
Grabe yung noise. Pero eto, this season is all about behind the music, and you guys have been putting out a lot of new tracks lately, taking new steps into your career, going forward, and we just want to talk about that today. So I think the first one I'd like to talk about is Autumn. How did that come to fruition? How did you create that song? What's the process? Let's start.
So back in October 2022, we were in the middle of a North America tour, our first ever, and it was our first time being away for that long. I think more than a month.
Yeah.
And that really does things to you, especially like when you miss someone.
Ay.
Oh.
Sariling Sariling
So
sikap
that
ng
does
sarili.
things to me.
Yeah. Facts.
No, but really, I think all of us were really just missing home, and the feeling that waiting gave to us. I think yung context kasi nun, aside from waiting for the time that we get to be with our loved ones, we were literally waiting day by day for our visa to get approved.
Yeah.
Yes. To get to the US. And
For
sobrang
our shows.
clutch talaga. Para siyang Hail Mary pass. Parang ganun. And so there was a lot of anxiety in general, and wanting things to happen right now, for clarity to come. And I think yung sobrang powerful na energy na yon, which we find ourselves often in, yung situations na parang there's nothing that you can control actually. Parang lahat nagiging out of
Very
control.
true.
Personally, parang what that brought to me was, well, the one thing that I can control right now is I can write a song, kasi baka yun na lang yung magawa ko habang naghihintay. And there was one song that came out from that burst, which eventually didn't become an actual song, but it became part of our other song, Could Be Something. But the song that came after that was Autumn,
Hmm.
which was inspired by, like missing my special someone. And
Hey.
We got you.
all of us really like missing our loved ones, and it really just came in one go. As in, rare yun eh. The last time na nangyari yun for us was our other song, Pagtingin.
Okay.
As in, like, that just came in one go, na parang tuloy-tuloy. So Autumn was like that then. And then I was playing it dun sa waiting area namin. Then Kiefer heard it and said, "Ooh, parang okay yung song na yun." And then, but we didn't do anything about that in particular. And then a year passed. And then siguro mga September of this year, parang the idea again resurfaced, because I guess like we were in the middle of like a waiting season. That inspired us to like take the song all the way to its completion. And by that time, parang the rest of us had our own experiences then to bring in, so that musically, the musical landscape of like the track, the arrangement and the production, it came to life and it became what you hear now, which is Autumn in its completion.
I love that. I think that's something I want to touch on upon as well, where it's like you're telling me that you write a song, you have a feeling, and then a year later it comes
Yeah.
to fruition. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Maybe being such a big group, how do songs kind of take form? Like, you just said like all of you kind of had that feeling, then you put it into the song. It started with you, but is that how all the songs start, or what's it like?
So most of the songs,
Put us in the
especially,
studio with Ben&Ben.
oh yeah. So the whole process starts usually with the songwriter,
Okay.
and most songs really comes from Paolo and Miguel,
Mhm.
and they let us listen to it.
Yeah.
and that's when our souls also comes in. The way we interpret and express and respond to the emotions and the messages from that song. That's where the magic really comes, especially when we get technical in a studio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all really go into the nitty gritty of how can we best serve the song.
Mhm.
So it's always been like, in a way, it's like a guiding principle that we follow. It's how can we serve the song for the song to basically we want to protect the message of the song and the real feeling behind it, and not to like overflower it with many things.
Yeah.
So we learned this very, it's a lesson basically of limiting
Mhm.
ourselves sometimes if we have to. Especially we're nine in the band, and so sometimes there are songs that, okay, maybe this time this certain instrument doesn't need to be here yet, or like something like that. So it's one of the perspectives of actually going through one of the songs, but there's so many ways of seeing it. Maybe you guys can share something about it too.
Fun anecdote that we went through for this song was we made a lot of versions for it, and we
Mhm.
explored so many different directions for how the sound should go. Like what Kiefer said, we don't want to overflower it. We Same thing goes though, that we don't want to not give it justice
Yeah.
with the sounds that we put into it. So process that we go through is, I don't know if we actually try it, but I'm sure we imagine it as like, what's the most less is more arrangement for it,
Exactly.
and then we push it to the extreme.
Yeah.
For like, how heavy can we make this, how emotional can we make the music, how compelling can we make the music, and then we find that perfect balance in between. And so we had a lot of studio sessions where we explored that range of sound for where this song should go, and I think we found it somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
Something that's kind of light because there's nothing you could do when you're waiting.
Yep.
I mean, it's that longing there, but then there's a weight into it that's not really in your face. Like, oh, you should feel bad for waiting.
Yeah.
It's sad. Eh?
Yeah.
It's part of it. So, parang that's where the weight is. So that's the middle that we found for this song. It's a different process every time for every song, but for this particular song, Autumn, that's what we went through in finding that balance for its weight musically.
So if you listen to Autumn, diba, the start it's kind of light, then it gradually gets a bit heavier. I liken it to the experience of actually walking in a place that has autumn. Unfortunately, we don't have the leaves changing colors much here, but
Yes, sir.
parang when we were there for such a long time that we experienced the start of autumn and
Oh,
we
wow.
experienced the
Magical.
tail end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's starting out, like the leaves are starting to change color, you're walking around, you're like, wow, this is so pretty, so nice, so fun. But as the leaves kind of like start to fall and you're just left with gray branches,
Yeah.
you don't have that voice in your head anymore going, oh, this is so pretty. You just kind of have all of those thoughts in your head like, wow, the leaves are gone, but I'm still here.
Oh.
Alam mo ba, merong
Yes.
merong tawag dun sa In Between Autumn tsaka Winter.
Ano?
Album siya, yun yung album title ng artist na si Noah Kahan, yung Stick Season.
Stick
season.
Basically,
Stick.
ano siya, yun yung
Stick.
point
Stick.
na
May
yung
bareness of trees.
wala nang nakalbo na lahat ng mga puno. Tapos bago mag-winter. Wala lang. Fun fact.
Pero
Mga
always
listeners
Stick.
will grow
time.
naman.
Oo.
No, I love what you guys are saying. I think I've talked to a lot of artists where it's exactly that. It's not about, going into the song like, okay, what do we think people want? It's about what does the song need from me? And that's what you're saying. Like you're gonna give the song exactly what it needs, not exactly how far, you can actually push it. And then when you do push it that far, you're able to bring it back to the honesty or where you're trying to bring it exactly. And you can hear that in your music. You're bringing out all these emotions that so many people, obviously, and by the stream numbers alone, can relate to. And that's something that's magical about what you guys do. And that's amazing. Let's talk about courage because I read about it and talking about the valleys and all these different things that you're doing. that's something that really stood out to me. Can you tell me about that song and where it came from? Who wrote it? What was it like creating it?
The song itself is so different from how Autumn came out dahil nanggaling siya sa point na ano a lot of us were it wasn't as gentle of a pain as of waiting because courage was really a struggle.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of things that we were hoping for to happen didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of failures as well.
Yeah.
Internally and also like probably things that we were hoping to, I don't know, achieve or something. Pati yun. So when you go through a lot of failure and a lot of setbacks, it makes you question why you're doing things, really. And it also makes you reflect on what should I do then. So courage came from that heavy feeling of despair actually. Na palagay mo parang yun na yun or parang yung ginagawa mo minsan parang wala siyang pinatutunguhan.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos nung sinusulat namin siya, sinend sa akin ni Paolo yun yung first verse of the song. And it was a very real verse because it doesn't really talk about things that give you hope yet.
Mm-hmm.
It just talks about the pain of being a slave to your anxiety and these very heavy things. But then as we journeyed through the song Courage, we tried to explore, okay, I'm feeling this immense weight that's on my shoulders. What now? What then? Does the conversation stop there? And should it stop there? And if not, how do you bring it forward? How do you tell someone that it's not the end of it?
Yeah.
Without shoving it in.
Exactly.
But also without being too passive about it. So it's very tricky because it's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways that it also could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it could not be of the right effect. It was actually the first time for that song na within the band, we sat down and talked about not just the music, but the message of it. It was a tough time too. Even that discussion was tough. Pero I'm glad that we got through it together. Kasi, now that we finished recording the song and we put it out there and we're sharing it to people, I think we kind of have a common understanding of the nuance of what courage is trying to say and how it tries to say it. So after the lyrics went on, and if you listen to the lyrics of the song, it takes you through a journey of trying to be with you rather than trying to force something on you.
Yes.
But to walk with you towards somewhere. Ang nangyari after nung lyrics ay ang ganda nung process of the soundscape built around it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably Kiefer and Poch can talk more about that because they really took charge in bringing that out.
Actually, I want to jump in with what you were saying, kanina. Like, what's really interesting, with our songs is we actually end up experiencing like what it's trying to say. So parang we're the first how would you say it? Like a test dummy of like what, for example, like courage. We're really challenged by taking courage. It's very, how would you say, like ironic, like it's something like that basically. So it's it's very meta basically. So anyway, that's out of the way. But
so from now on, puro masasaya na lang yung sulat natin.
No. Ito na yung gusto kong sabihin dun eh. I think the power and like the how it really, because it's helping us also. It's challenging us also. And so we can actually simulate how it can also go for other people, although for sure it's going to be different. But what I love about, for example, when we listen to the songs, it's hard to hear, honestly, for someone to tell, like, take courage. Because you can think now, wait, but you don't know where I'm going. You don't know my context.
Exactly.
So why would you say take courage? But then you realize the way the song was speaking is that the tone of it is basically like one line. The lines that I really love is that don't be scared. It's like it's saying like, okay, I know what it feels to be scared.
Hmm.
Haven't you heard the news? The war has been won for us. So it's not like a dead end type of song where it's just pushing you to just keep going. It's actually pushing you to actually remind you of the vision that you had from the start.
Yeah.
Because like we have this saying that without vision will perish. And so if you forget that vision, you do get lost. And sometimes people just needs reminding of what that vision is. But going back to the technicalities, what Migs was saying, we had fun actually working on that,
We
me and
had
Poch.
fun, yeah.
So he went to my place
Yeah.
and
Because Kaifa and I are dramatic
Oh,
Eh,
with the arts.
we love that.
we
And
love
Yes.
the drama.
We love that.
and something beautiful that happened in one of those sessions in the studio, where we all arranged the song together. Um, Pat mentioned that parang maganda kung parang may monster
Mhm.
chasing you, and you're like, huh, yeah, that's true. So when Kaifer and I were figuring out how to put the soundscapes into it and other sounds into it, he said, why don't we add a monster in the start?
Don't read
No,
the
just a monster in the start, like just to have that awareness that, yo, something's out there.
Yeah.
Like life's not easy. Like everyone has their own struggles.
you see this like this like it's fun also working on them because it's also visual for us like working with Tony sometimes when she's helping me with my violin lines like it's really imagery we really put imagery in the melodies the lines even the lyrics diba, na, so it was really a fun process that day.
I love what you guys are saying, and I think it's looking at a song in a very refreshing perspective because you've turned a song into a conversation that someone can have. You guys had it internally, and now you've been able to bring that to the listener where they don't have to take a message. They can interpret it the way they want to and have that conversation with themselves or with the people around them. And do you think that's what's going on with your music now? Do you feel like this Ben and Ben, this more mature songwriting, this more mature, you know, deconstruction or construction of music is your direction now? And how could you compare it to how you used to write, like when you started?
So I think it's like a mix of growth, both musically and lyrically, in terms of honing it. Like
Hmm.
you know, as we go along, we learn what we need to improve on, and then we improve on it. But it's a mix of that and really just going on with life.
Yeah.
Because as we grow older a year at a time, uh, it's a totally different arena that we enter in each year talaga. I mean, especially though, special mention sa generation natin na napagdaanan yung pandemic. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
ibang
right.
klaseng experience yun though.
We all
Pero-
aged +5.
Yeah,
Para
para
siyang
siyang plus
Exactly.
5 XP ni
It
Thanos
doesn't
or
count.
something.
Right?
Blip.
Pero ano siya, pero yun. So parang when you combine the growth as artists in terms of like learning and sharpening the craft and also deepening experiences, then that's why evolution is inevitable. Kasi life will always have that forward motion, and what you experience in the past will always inform how you perceive the world now, and it will be as such forever. So parang sa amin, the way that we write songs now, ano siya it's with a more mature perspective, which, unfortunately, a lot of it involves a lot of pain, like experiencing pain of life, which is why the song Courage is born. Pero, ano rin we also are in love with how life continues to renew hope and the hopeful realizations that come after that pain. And I think even as our music goes forward, yun yung magiging constant yung hopeful realizations na yun. Because from day one, parang that has been the purpose of music for us. For us to have that catharsis within ourselves. To really just keep pushing on with life. whether it's something simple as sobrang tamad ako today pero meron akong upbeat na song na narinig and therefore parang nagkaroon ako ng energy boost, or something like going through something really painful like a loss of a loved one, and
Yep.
being able to process that through the lyrics of a song. I think what's common there is a hopeful realization, and we find that that's our calling then as artists. So it's just a more and more mature version of hopeful realizations as we move along as a band.
I think that's so cool. It's more like saying just naturally going through life, and those periods of time reflect exactly what music you created at those times. And the more experience you have, the more that these songs are turning into what or where you are at that time period in life.
Yes.
So it just means that you guys will be able to create forever.
Kind of
That's
like
awesome.
milestones, milestones, but alive.
Yeah. So I guess, before we wrap up, I think one thing that your fans and, I'd personally like to know is what's next for you guys? Where do you see this going?
Well, I think 2023
Album? What? Sorry.
album.
Oh.
2023 was a year of really like finding ourselves and experimenting, and not just with the music actually, pero even like with how we run things like behind the scenes, parang a lot of learnings, a lot of growth in terms of working with different teams and different people then, and venturing out because we really ventured out a lot. We went to different countries and performed for different audiences. So all of that, putting all of that together, 2024 is a year na we apply all of that into yun. Ano na, mark our words, an album.
Claiming
And,
it.
Nandito na.
and
Let's
ano,
go.
and,
Exciting.
Woo.
Hell yeah.
and touring that album.
I'm
So,
personally excited for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But how that happens, meron ba yung crazy idea on how it could happen?
We live one day at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the answer.
That's how it will
Quoted.
That's
happen.
how it is. That's how it
We
is.
live one day at a time sa sa remote island.
Yes.
Wow.
Whoa!
And
Daming
that's how the
budget.
album is.
With courage.
With courage.
With
Yeah,
courage.
walang budget, walang as in like Survivor type guys.
G!
Courage
Walang
pala.
equipment.
Game kayo doon?
Just lobsters.
Ayoko, walang aircon. Wow.
Nako.
Pero realistically, how it could potentially happen is we work on it one song at a time.
Yeah.
Definitely. Whether we release it or not, like kaagad na release, or like we wait for the album. We're excited to be able to bring life to these songs that are waiting to be worked on. Actually, there are a lot of songs na inaabangan naming magkaroon ng session to just really give birth to.
Yeah.
The same way that Courage and Autumn then could be something yung kung paano siya pinanganak this year. Ganun for the other songs next year. And I think what's always exciting about an album is, aside from the individual songs themselves, the collective of songs, they really tell a powerful story. And we've been intentional about that with our past albums as
Yeah.
well. So we can't wait to see where this next one takes us. Because as Dave said, even the story of the album as a whole will be a reflection of where we are currently in life, and our perspectives and insights and the music that we listen to. It's all gonna come out in the album.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you for the music. Thank you for having the courage to continue making music. And I know everyone's super excited for you. This has been Billboard Philippines Volumes.
Thanks.
Catch us. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you,
for
Ben and
having
Ben.
us, Billboard.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
Thank you.
Billboard.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.
Thank you.
Billboard Philippines.